So let me tell you about this movie Night Shift 2024, because it starts off like your classic haunted motel story, but by the end, it completely flips the script and leaves you wondering if the ghosts were ever real, or if the scariest thing in the building was the person running it. Welcome back to the channel where we dig up the darkest corners of horror stories that keep you awake at night. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. We meet Gwen on her first night managing this rundown little roadside motel called the All Tucked In. Right away, it's got that creepy, something's not right energy. The lobby is empty, the place feels abandoned, and then there's this weird yogi statue on the wall that literally falls the second she shows up, like it's trying to warn her. She meets Teddy, the guy training her, and he's one of those cheerful managers who gives her the rules. Cash only. Don't open the supply closet unless you prop it. And oh, by the way, the pool's been swallowed by a sinkhole, but the county's fixing it soon. Yeah, sure they are. And then Teddy bails, leaving Gwen completely alone. That's when things get messy. Almost immediately, she notices she's not actually alone. There's this dark figure watching from the road. Creepy, but the real red flag is when she checks the ledger and sees that someone named Ms. Marsh is in room 6. When she knocks, the girl who answers, Alice, doesn't match that name at all. Dirty fingernails, nervous, clearly lying. And that's when the movie starts its game. Is this supernatural? Or is this just people being shady? Because right after, a black car pulls past, creeping like it's watching her. Gwen finds something gross in room 8's bed. The phone rings from an empty room, and when she picks up, she hears this faint, eerie laughter. Then it rings again, from the front desk phone. And, of course, no one's there. That's pure ghost story fuel. Gwen grabs a knife and goes to investigate, only to get jump scared by Alice. They both get locked in the supply room. The lights flicker. Rats pour out. It looks straight out of a haunted house movie, until a delivery guy just opens the door. Poof, mystery solved. That's the first big hint. All this haunting keeps getting explained away by very normal, very human stuff. Gwen and Alice start talking, and this is where they trauma bond. Alice says she's a runaway escaping a controlling mom, and Gwen shares that her mom was strict too. They're sitting there swapping sob stories, while that creepy black car keeps circling like a shark. Back inside, the yogi statue falls off the wall again. Second time. And if you've watched enough horror, you know repeated little details aren't accidents. They're signposts. Things lighten up for a moment when this chaotic couple, Warner and Bertie, check in for what they think will be a quick hookup. Gwen refuses. They sneak into a room anyway, and when she peeks in later, she sees their weird role play and thinks she's witnessing something violent. It's not, but that moment tells you something about Gwen. She's not seeing things clearly. And then we get to the pool. Gwen goes outside, stares into that sinkhole, and falls in. Suddenly, this pale, ghostly girl figure rises out of the water like something straight out of The Ring. Alice pulls her out, and instead of saying, "What the hell was that?" Alice calmly admits she came here because she'd heard the motel was haunted. And now Gwen's convinced too. Except, we'll see later, this isn't a ghost at all. It's Gwen's brain replaying something much darker, because then Gwen drops her backstory bomb. When she was Alice's age, this guy named Walton Gray broke in and murdered her entire family. He went to an institution but just escaped 2 days ago. And to prove he's coming after her, he mailed her mom's necklace to her. That's why she's here, hiding. Now, on the surface that sounds like a straightforward slasher setup, but it's too neat, too convenient. It's the kind of story someone tells themselves to make sense of something unbearable. The movie leans harder into the haunting tricks. Gwen sees a little girl on the motel cameras, then behind her, then gone. The phone won't stop. Teddy calls, telling her she's imagining things. And then the black car guy finally checks in. Room 8. Gwen tries to play it cool, but then lunges at him with scissors. And this is where the whole movie flips upside down. He's not a killer. He's her psychiatrist. His name's Dr. Raymond Bailey. He's been treating her at Ashford Psychiatric Facility, where she's been for 12 years. Gwen didn't escape Walton Gray. She is Walton Gray. She's the one who murdered her mother and sisters. That escaped killer backstory she told, a fantasy. The necklace, just a hallucination. Every ghost, every shadow, every noise, symptoms of Gwen's unraveling. The motel isn't haunted. Gwen is haunted. And once the mask is off, she doesn't hold back. She kills Dr. Raymond. She kills the 2 orderlies who came to bring her back. Alice discovers the bodies and runs, and from here, it's a full-blown slasher chase. Gwen stalks her through the motel, swinging axes, cutting lights. Playing cat and mouse, Alice actually stabs Gwen and makes it to the hospital van. But of course, the doors are locked. She goes for Gwen's keys, and that's her fatal mistake. Gwen gets the upper hand and kills her too. One by one, everyone's gone. When Teddy returns, he knows something's off. Roommate's bed is just a little too clean. He follows a trail to the pool, and Gwen emerges from the water like she's been waiting for him, whispering, "Come closer, I'll show you." The screen cuts before we see what happens, but the implication's clear. Teddy joins the pile. Then we jump forward. A year later, the motel has been completely renovated. Fresh paint, glowing neon, pool sparkling. Gwen is now the proud owner, smiling behind the counter. A college kid checks in, and she casually mentions how the sinkhole used to be big enough to fit 5 people. 5. Dr. Raymond, the 2 orderlies, Alice, Teddy, all buried right there. That's the final chill. The motel didn't get rid of its ghosts, it just paved over them. And the Yogi statue? Yeah, it falls again. Because you can redecorate the motel all you want, but you can't redecorate guilt. So here's the thing. On paper, Night Shift wants you to think it's a haunted motel ghost story. But the real horror isn't supernatural at all. It's psychological. The ghosts we keep seeing, the little girl, the pale figure in the pool, the phone calls, aren't just cheap scares. They're Gwen's trauma breaking through her reality. That's the horror. Not a spirit lurking in the hallway, but your own brain lying to you, turning guilt into monsters you can't escape. And honestly, that's way scarier, because you can salt a doorframe and burn sage for ghosts. But what do you do when the thing haunting you is yourself? And here's where it gets even darker. The morality of this story. Usually in horror, we root for the final girl, right? The one who survives, who overcomes the killer or the curse. But in Night Shift, our final girl is the killer. Gwen doesn't escape her trauma. She weaponizes it. Everyone else in the motel, Alice, Teddy, the orderlies, they're basically collateral damage. And the movie doesn't give us the satisfaction of justice. Gwen wins. She kills, she covers it up. And a year later, she's thriving, greeting customers with a smile while the bodies rot under the pool. That's the part that really sticks to your ribs. It's not just a ghost story. It's a story about how evil can hide in plain sight, dressed up in fresh paint and neon lights, smiling right at you. Morally, it's bleak. It's saying some people don't get redemption. Some people don't face consequences. Some monsters don't need a mask. They just need a business license. And it forces us to sit with that. Because the big question is, what's scarier? The idea of a haunted motel? Or the idea that someone like Gwen could be running the one you check into tomorrow night, all while hiding a graveyard under the pool? So here's my final take. Night Shift 2024 is one of those horror movies that crawls under your skin because it flips the script on what you think horror is. It's less about jump scares and more about the horror of memory, denial, and guilt. The twist that Gwen is the killer isn't just shock value. It's the movie pointing a finger at us, saying, you wanted ghosts because they're easier. You wanted a monster because it's simple. But sometimes the person smiling behind the counter is the real nightmare. Is it perfect? No. Some of the logistics feel stretched. and Alice deserved a better arc than just being the emotional punching bag. But the ending, Gwen owning the motel, standing there like nothing happened, yeah, that's the kind of ending that sticks with you. Because the ghosts aren't in the rooms, they're in the lies we tell, and the things we bury, until the ground swallows them whole. If you want more breakdowns of horror like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss the next one.